back to the program. Let's move over now to East Africa, where the Kenyan police have arrested a member of the opposition who played a key role in the mock inauguration of Mr. Raila Odinga on Tuesday. Miguna was seized after a dawn raid at his home in the Kenyan capital of Nairobi. Police used explosives to blast open his door before leading Mr. Miguna away. Yesterday, he taunted police, telling them he had signed Mr. Odinga's oath and so they should come and arrest him. Mr. Miguna also told his supporters to burn pictures of Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta. His arrest comes just 2 days after police detained T.J. Kajwang, a lawyer and politician who also attended the mock swearing-in. Meanwhile, protests have rocked the Nairobi slum of Kibera after his arrest. Meanwhile, the United States and the UK have criticized Tuesday's inauguration of Mr. Raila Odinga, saying it undermines the country's constitution and rule of law. Spokesperson for the U.S. State Department, Heather Nauert, said the U.S. was deeply concerned by the government's tactics of intimidation and restriction of the media. In a statement released, the United States said the stunt leaves them gravely concerned for Kenya. On January the 30th, Mr. Odinga declared himself the people's president at a ceremony in Uhuru Park in the Kenyan capital of Nairobi. Well, it's no doubt that entrepreneurship and information technology have become the backbone of the world economy. Information technology is increasingly helpful in the society and in many industries and businesses. Entrepreneurship and innovation in the economy emphasizes the need for a leading and authoritative research work. However, many old and new entrepreneurs do not utilize technology to its full extent to propel them to new heights. Well, joining us to discuss more on this is the Chief Executive Officer of GetJama, Ugochukwu Nwosu. Nice to have you on the program, Network Africa. Now, what is the relationship, thank you so much, what is the relationship between information technology and entrepreneurship?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the buzzword startups a lot. It doesn't mean that there are not other new businesses coming up, but startups came out because of how technology has been changing how we do things. I mean, when you look at the financial sector, when you look at the retail sector, when you look at even the handiwork sector, you see how technology has modified how many businesses have been run and run a lot better.
Can entrepreneurs really leverage on technology to improve their business? You know, we talk about growing competition in the world of business, so how can that be achieved?
Okay, so with the way technology has moved on and how business is running today, it will be tough for any entrepreneur to succeed without continuing to innovate, without continuing to change how they do things. And for the older industries, it's easy for them. They have the luxury of time. People can manage to look at some of their goods because they've already established. But for the new ones and the way the system has become so dynamic, you have to innovate almost every time. I mean, we make jokes of updating certain technology solutions more than how many times we use them. So for a new business, at every point, you want to find a moment where your customers, your clients, and everyone who is concerned with the business is happy. And the best way to do this is to have constant engagement. And how do you have constant engagement? Is when you know what your clients need at every time.
Now, is it better for developing countries to adapt existing technologies from, the developed nations rather than undertake or even promote intensive research and development?
I think it cuts across two parts. We can learn a lot from people who already have something going. But one thing you also need to understand is that we are catering for a different market. We're catering for a market who has a different kind of understanding. And for you to continue to move them, so it's like two people who are on a journey and the other one already understands a couple of things. So for you to lead this new market into where you want to get your business to continue growing, you have to continue changing to adapt to their continued changing needs.
Now, tell us, what are those possible issues affecting entrepreneurs, particularly the old entrepreneurs, from not using technology to improve their business? And how do you think this can be resolved?
Well, I would think that a lot of the old businesses, what they have recently been doing is latch on to the recent innovations, either be able to invest in them or buy them up. Because when you have invested so much in some certain kind of infrastructure, I mean, it's natural. You find it hard to actually leave that thing and go for something entirely new. So it has to take a process. And if you haven't started the process on time, and you start when you feel you're doing catch up, you tend to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, you can look at a couple of websites or different solutions. I mean, the app is a real thing now, especially for the financial sector, especially the banks. Everyone is building an app, but the question is it possible that what I'm building an app for, that a mobile web platform could do it better? Or do I really need an app? How many people download an app? I mean, how many people have phones that can take all this apps? So if I have 5 bank accounts, do I need to have the app of all these 5 banks? So if you get to the point where you can find out what is the easiest thing that my consumer can use, probably as a financial institution, and not have to boggle them with what every other person is giving them.
All right, going forward now, how best can entrepreneurs, both new and old one, how can they utilize some of these technologies that we've been talking about? Particularly now that we're in the year 2018, going forward, what can they do?
I think we need to look a lot more at consumer-focused design. So it can be easy for you to bring in 6 people in a room, I mean, with different titles: youth expert, gender expert, all kinds of expert, asking them questions on where you need to focus in a certain kind of product. But if you actually start designing and take your consumer in the journey of that design, I mean, and research in a way that for every step of the design, your consumer has some kind of feedback into what you're designing. So by the time you get to market, you actually spend little time creating social media or marketing activities. You've actually designed something that the consumer is needing at that point. Right, so we should focus a lot more now on consumer-focused design.
All right, thank you so much, Ogochukwu Nwosu, Chief Executive Officer of Gijamo. Thank you for your thoughts on the program Network Africa.
Thank you.
And with that, we've come to the end of the program, Network Africa. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balu.